Hello everyone, my name is Kasum. From today's video, I will go through Azure Security Center and its features. From this tutorial, we will see how to enable Azure Security Center for your cloud workloads. We will look into the features such as Azure Defender, regulatory compliance, recommendation. To see more tutorials like this, subscribe to our channel. Now let's get started with Azure Security Center. With the inception of cloud computing, organizations and individuals move their business application from traditional on-premises to the cloud environment. So by moving their applications and their infrastructure into the cloud, it allows business to rapidly introduce new features for their applications with less time and effort, right? So with that flexibility, when you move to the cloud, when you move your application and infrastructures into the cloud, we are facing new security challenges. So to address those security challenges, Azure has a service, we call it as Azure Security Center. So Azure Security Center is a service offered by Azure to overlook your security posture in the subscription. So by using Azure Security Center, you can get a idea about what are the resources that are compliant with with the regulations, and what are the resources and services that need to be improved in a security wise, and what are the remediation methods that we can take to remediate those actions and alerts that are applicable for those resources. Okay, now let's see how we can access the Azure Security Center. So if you have a Azure subscription, you can go to the in the portal, you can search for Security Center. Then you can click the Security Center. Then you can see the overview dashboard. So Azure Security Center is there are two pricing tiers: free pricing tier and standard pricing tier. So in the free pricing tier is enabled for all the subscriptions, but it is limited for a handful of features. But if you want to take full advantage of Azure Security Center, I highly recommend to enable it to the standard tier. Right? So when you enable the standard tier in Azure Security Center, you will get this kind of a overview dashboard. In this overview dashboard, it will show you the secure score of your subscription, and in the right side you can see the insights. So it will show you the recommendations that are suggested by Azure Security Center. So in the secure score, it will show you how much you are compliant with the available recommendations, and how many as a percentage it will show you how much it compliant. So you can increase the secure score by completing the recommendations and implementing the recommended recommendations. You can increase the secure score. Then you can see the Azure Defender. So Azure Defender is come with the standard tier. So Azure Defender will show you the different kind of alerts that is identified by the Azure Security Defender and the Security Center. So these alerts are categorized into 3: low, medium, and high. Those will be shown in here in the overview dashboard. Then it will show you the regulatory compliance. So this is also available in the standard tier. So it will show you the Azure benchmark, security benchmark, how many controls you have passed from that benchmark, and if you enable other regulatory requirements like ISO 27000, SOC, then Azure CIS and PCI DSS. So those controls also show how many controls are compliant with your current resources. Then firewall manager is also work with Azure Firewall. So if you have Azure Firewall implemented, you can integrate with Azure Firewall as well. Okay, so now we saw the overview dashboard. Now we'll go and see the other features that are available in the Azure Security Center. So next we'll see the recommendations. So this is very important place. So this will show you all the recommendations that are Azure Security Center recommend for you for your subscriptions and resource. So here you can see the secure score, and this secure score is calculated based on the recommendations, compliant recommendations, controls, and that are not compliant, right? So with in the right side you can see the resource health. So here you can see I have all together 155 kind of resources. From all of these resources, 67 is healthy, 11 is not applicable, and 75 are unhealthy, right? So by using this one you can get an overview of your resource healthy. When you come to the below, you can see all the recommendations. So here these recommendations are grouped. So you can use these filters, or you can use a search to search these recommendations. So you can turn off this group recommendation by using this toggle bar. So by switching off, you can see all the recommendations in one place, right, without grouping, right? So here these recommendations are based on the resources that are available in the subscription. So some recommendation like SQL, then virtual machine, Kubernetes clusters, those are available under the only the standard tier. So you have to make sure that you are enable the standard tier, right? So let's go and see one of the recommendations and see what it is showing for us, right? So let's go to the first one. The auditing on Azure SQL Server should be enabled. So in a best practices scenario, we need to enable the Azure SQL Server auditing. So you can see who is accessing the database, what are the actions, queries that run on top of the database, right? So you can click this one, then it will show you the description, then the remediation steps. So some recommendations have quick fixes, so you can click this quick fix logic, and it will go and fix that issue in the relevant resource, right? Then that it will show you what are the affected resources. So you can select those affected resources and you can fix it here by clicking this button. You can fix the this recommendation issue, right? Then you can exempt it. Then if you have a logic gap, you can trigger the logic gap. So you can enforce this one. Also you can do that one. So these kind of visibilities available for here. So it will show you the severity of your recommendation. So it is low, right? And there are some recommendations that are high. So you have to take you have to select most high priority severity recommendations first and work through the below. Next we will see what are the cloud services that are available in the cloud security category, right? So under the cloud security we have SQL score, right? So in the SQL score it will show you the entire score for your subscription, right? So you can see how many subscriptions are covered by this and how many management groups are covered by this security center, right? Then under the regulatory compliance, you can see what are the regulatory compliance that are enabled for this security center. So under below you can see those individual regulate compliances, recommendations, and non-compliant controls, right? So if you click expand all controls, you can see that under each control category you have affected resources. So you are saying these storage accounts should restrict the network access using virtual network rules, right? So under the Azure security benchmark, under the network security, you have first one is implementing security for internal traffic. So it will give a recommendation you need to follow. Then it will show you the resource type, then how many resources are failed with this recommendation. Likewise, there are a lot of recommendations here, so you can work on this each recommendation one by one. So let's go to another compliance like PCI DSS. This is for the payment gateways. If you have any payment gateways in your applications, then these PCI DSS should be there, right? So you can see cardholders data, how to protect cardholders data. So you have to take these kind of actions, and they are recommending those things, how to secure those cardholders data. So based on these recommendations, you can take the relevant actions. Then let's see Azure Defender. So Azure Defender is a central place for getting alerts for your resources. So in my current environment, I have 18 virtual machines and 1 Kubernetes cluster, and the container registers and app services keywords and SQL servers as well. So in my current environment, I'm getting a lot of low severity alerts for my servers. So if you click one of these yellow lines in specific date, you can see the alerts that are generated for that date. If I click this one, it will show you the alerts, right? So in here I have web server here. So it will someone is trying to attack to that web server. So it will try to access the server from a IP addresses that are not recommended. So here you can see the attack tactics, and you can click this view full detail to see the entire detail here. So here you can see the port they are trying to access, and the IP address, then Azure resource that is targeted, then the IP address detail, then the network connection detail, from which IP is coming. So all of those valuable informations are here. So under the take actions, you can enforce different rules. Then to prevent those future attacks, it will recommend these recommendations should be applied to these specific servers. So if you have any automation triggers with logic apps, you can trigger those automated responses as well. So in the Azure Defender, there are few other features like just-in-time VM access. So just-in-time VM access is a very important and very useful. So by configuring just-in-time VM access, we can configure specific VMs. You can restrict the access to the specific VM through RDP or SSH. So by using this one, you can enable it. Then when you need to access those servers, you have to request the SSH or RDP access. Then it should be approved by someone, and after the approval to a specific time period, you are getting the access. After that time period expired, your connection, the SSH or RDP connection will be closed. So this is very important for security, because we can restrict brute force attacks and unauthorized access to the servers. Another important feature is if you are using container images, right? And if you are using Azure Container Registry for your container registry, so you can scan your container images by using quality. By scanning your images, you can identify vulnerabilities in your images. So as you can see here, there are vulnerabilities in following images, right? So these images has this specific vulnerability here. So you can see the CVEs, and you can go and see what is this vulnerability, then severity also there. So you can take necessary action to your application image in the future releases to mitigate these vulnerabilities. So the next one is network map. By using network map, you can get a high level and in detail idea about how the network is working. So you can see that here I have multiple virtual networks, right? So if I take one of these network, you can see how many subnet it has and how many resources are connected to this specific subnet, right? So if I click the virtual network subnet, you can see the recommendations of that subnet. If I click the VNet, it will show you the details. And if I click a virtual machine, it will show you the recommendation that need to be taken for that virtual machine, right? So if I click one of the virtual machine like this one, in here also you can see configure traffics, what are the allowed and unallowed traffics as well. So here you can see those rules. Okay, so as a final step, I will show you how to enable the standard on the Azure Security Center. So to enable standard pricing tier, you have to go to the management under the pricing and settings. Then you have to select the subscription. Then under the Azure Defender plan, you have to put the Azure Defender on. Then below you can enable it for a specific resources, right? So for example, if you want to enable the Azure Defender for all of these services, then you can enable it on. Or if you want to enable Defender on specific resource types, you can do it as also, right? So here you can see the pricing here. So these are the pricing for the those services, right? Then after you select the Defender on, you can click save. Then it will save the settings, right? Then another important thing is Security Center auto provisioning. So this is very handy feature. By using Azure Security Center auto provisioning, you can provision the log analytic agent to each of the virtual machine you are deploying to the subscription. So you don't have to go and manually deploy the agent, because Azure Security Center, if you are enabling Azure Security Center, you should have the log analytics agent is installed on a machine to get the data. So by enabling this auto provisioning log analytics agent to the VMs will reduce a lot of work you have to be done on manually. It will automatically deploy the agent when the VM is created. That's all for this tutorial on Azure Security Center. To see more tutorials like this, subscribe to Enlear Academy. See you in the next tutorial. Bye.